Hello again. Yeah, I just thought today I'd make a quick video, really, not as long as the last one. The last one was an hour. Um, maybe a little bit too long in hindsight, so hopefully this one will be a lot shorter. Yeah, I just thought I'd talk about why I like to draw, um, and why I really started. Um, so I might as well just get straight into it. Um, why I started drawing? Well, now, as I mentioned in my earlier video, I'm in my 30s now, but when I was younger, I was really good at drawing. Um, I kind of just had like a bit of a natural talent for it. I remember in primary school, I always got moved up to like we had like sets in primary school for, I guess for, I don't know, maybe like, we had like different coloured tables. I guess the idea was around maybe how much potential certain tables have. But I remember I drew a really good piece of toast once, and I went from the blue table to the red, and the red table was the smart table, or at least that was how I seem to remember it. Um, so yeah, I did. I really enjoyed it. I used to draw a lot at home, just for fun to pass the time. I used to like try and draw pictures I saw in comics and stuff like that. Yeah, and I just enjoyed it. I had a bit of a natural talent for it. Um, my mum's good at drawing, so I don't know if I get it from her side. My dad's quite creative; he's a musician. There's some, I don't know, maybe there's a bit of that in there as well. But somewhere down the line, I as I got older, it was a couple of years ago now, I think, probably more like when I turned 29, I realised that I hadn't really drawn anything in a long time. I'd never really paid it any attention. I'd kind of just, I never really pursued it, in any kind of serious way. And I always remember I enjoyed doing it. So just one day, I guess I just kind of asked myself the question, why did I stop? Um, and I think, and at first, so, I did a bit of painting really. Um, that's the thing with me. I tend to just throw myself into things without really doing the proper groundwork or the research first. And sometimes that's a good way to do things. I think just do it. Um, Other times, it doesn't go well and it can discourage you a little bit. But yeah, I started with the painting, and to be honest, I wasn't really too bad. I tended to just, um, again, like I'd look at pictures from comic strips and I'd kind of just draw my own version on the canvas in the pencil and paint over it. And yeah, I made some half decent stuff, but I always found I was never quite happy with anything I drew, and um, like I always felt like it could be better. I still feel like that now, to be honest. Um, but I'm kind of more okay with it now. I'm less. I guess my anxiety kind of came out in my drawing. Like everything had to be perfect. I was so worried about people judging my drawings. Um, in hindsight, that wasn't a great thing. But nevertheless, I did kind of push forward with it and continue to do it. I mean, what I found is when you're drawing, a lot of people are they're very easily impressed if you can just draw something simple. They are very easily impressed, and I think it comes from this kind of, everyone seems to, most people I speak to, when you talk about drawing, like you say, I like to draw, and like the first thing you just say is, "Oh, really? Wow." Oh, I can't draw. They always say they can't draw, and I just think that's not true. Anyone can draw. Maybe some people have a bit less of a natural talent for it, but they can learn it. You can definitely learn it as a skill and get as good as anyone, in my opinion. Um, I mean, what I tried to do when I after I did the painting, I was always a case of, I always struggled with people, because I always find when you draw people, you draw somebody's face, for example, if you like one line wrong, and it can just look like an abomination. Uh, and even if it doesn't, if you're drawing a specific person, it just completely doesn't look like that person. Um, the minor differences in somebody's face makes a big difference for the way that they look, which is why I find drawing faces is difficult. So what I tried to do was, because I think at first I set out thinking, yeah, I wanted to do like a comic style, comic book style. I want to be able to just draw uh, like a superhero face or a attractive woman face just from scratch, off the top of my head. That was what I had in mind at first, and to do that, I went to a few websites like Udemy. There's some tutorials on Udemy. I bought books. I got loads of drawing books. It's all this classic. You draw a circle, you draw a line through here, draw a line down here, then you bring it down here to make the jaw. And I could do that pretty effectively. I practiced and practiced and practiced that, and I did get better at drawing faces. Um, but then what I found was that there were always this certain comic style face. They always seem to look the same. Yeah, you can make adjustments to your template to make the face different, but yeah, I found whenever I did that, it just looked freaky. Like, yeah, I don't know what it was, and then I just kind of fell out of love with the whole aesthetic anyway. I do still kind of like the thick black lines, but I prefer to do a lot more of my shading with color. I think it looks better, and there's whole things like color theory, which I'm no expert at. I've looked up some basic stuff on it, but I find your use of color does make a real big impact on your drawing and where it draws attention to, and how it makes people feel when they look at it. Using hot and cold colors. I took drawing classes. That's another thing I did, and they were quite useful actually. I remember she just cut a lemon in half once, and um, she was like, "Just draw this lemon." I was like, "Seriously, draw a lemon?" Because for me, I have to, for me to draw something, I have to be like, think, "Oh yeah, that's really cool." Like, I do struggle to just sit down and draw an apple, you know, or something that doesn't really excite me. But I was there for the lesson. I paid for it, so I did that. And we used chalk. We used lots of different mediums. I was quite impressed with how this little lemon came out that I drew with chalk. I think I can find a picture of it somewhere. I might have a picture on this phone somewhere. Maybe I'll upload it at some point. But it looks so realistic, and I remember her saying when I did the shadow, she was like, "Oh, just put some purple there." I was like, "Purple? There's no purple in a lemon." She's like, "Trust me, it's like the opposite color." And put a bit of that in the shadow, just like a hint of it. Wow, it just like the lemon just like pops. So in that way, color theory is very, very effective. Um, I mean, really, I kind of came away from. Eventually, I came away from the whole comic book style. Um, Other than the thick black lines, I do still like the thick black lines. I've kind of maintained that. Um, I mean, I think what you probably find over time is you'll get your own style, and you'll probably shift through so many different styles before you find something you like. And like for me, I'm kind of taking little bits from things that I like. So, for example, the thick black lines, you could say comic book style inking, things like that. Um, but then also the way I draw my faces, I don't use like this set template. I just draw the face as I see it, because what I do now is I use a reference. References are really good. So like, I have a photo of an actor or something that I think looks nice, and I'll use that. I might change little things in it, but I'll always use that. Now I won't trace it. I don't believe in tracing. I do think it can make you a better drawer initially, but if I'm going to put some of my stuff, especially if I put stuff on my Instagram, um, I will have used a reference, but I'll never trace it, because for me it's like if I was to trace it, I would honestly put on there, okay, I've traced this. Um, yeah, because I just feel fake doing it. I'm not comfortable doing it like that. I'll use things for reference, but yeah, I'll never trace. When you use things for reference as well, your proportions can be bang on. I did another course on Udemy as well that was proportions. I think it's called Neil Fontaine or something. Um, and yeah, well, I've not even finished that course yet, to be honest, but it's been useful in teaching me the proportions, and that shows now in my drawings. Even though he's probably teaching you to draw more comic book style, it still works. When I'm trying to draw people realistically, to some extent anyway. The figure drawing, 100%, it helps. Um, I also, when I started, I always drew in pencil, and I kind of moved on to the digital medium now because I find I can draw in layers. I can completely erase stuff. Don't have to like use the rubber and there's still lines there. It's just I just feel like there's less pressure on me to draw perfectly. I can draw it as a mess, and then I can go, oh, this kind of looks like it's taking shape. Then I can go over it again with another layer, and if I really, really want to make something perfect, I can do that. Um, which is great. But having said that, there's still a lot to be said for drawing with a pencil or charcoal or paints or watercolor, whatever you want to give a try. Um, I think the thing is when you do give these things a try, just don't be too hard on yourself if it doesn't look how you like it or how you were envisioning it. Because to be honest, it rarely does. Sometimes I've drawn lines wrong, or something's not come out how I like was imagined it to be, and I just think it will better in the end. Sometimes mistakes can be a stroke of genius. But you just learn as you go along, like anything. You're not going to be perfect, I'm not perfect. It's like there's people who say to me, "Oh, you're so good, you could make money out of this," or, but I really don't think I'm that good. And when you compare me to, there's artists like that just absolutely blow me off the face of the planet. But I'm okay with that because I do it for fun. I know I have an ability for it, but that's all. But that's all I need. I'm absolutely fine with that. Um, but like I was just saying, try the different mediums. Even though I do digital, I still tried other mediums kind of along the side. Um, for example, before the coronavirus, the pandemic hit, I was going to life drawing classes. If you don't know what life drawing is, it's like you get a real model sitting in front of you, and they're just like bollock naked or foo naked. There was actually no blokes when no bloke models. You never really knew who the model was till he turned up, so I always felt like it was a bit of a Russian roulette there. But I thought, oh, do you know what? Like, I'm pretty sure I'm comfortable seeing a man's willy, so it is what it is, and it's all practice. But yeah, every time I went, it was a woman. The first time I went, it was a really young woman. I say really young, like really young. She was probably like 26 or something. Um, she must have been a gym goer. She had like some muscle on her, not like freakish muscle, but I heard a lot of the other artists complaining, going, "Oh, like, her boobs are too perky," and I'm like, "Fine with me." Like, I haven't got any complaints. I had to I thought I'd never been to the place before. I always try and set off early, so I get to places before the starting time. But with this one, I kind of lost my way. It was like this old church um, that might as well have been hidden away because my sense of direction is awful. But I got there anyway. I was a bit late, so we'd kind of like shut the door to the room. I had to knock on. You had to let me in. Everyone stared at me. They're all sitting around this girl in a circle. And I was like, okay, just find a space and crack on. I was like, fuck, okay, this is awkward. So I go in and I set up my easel anyway. In the only literally only one space where I can actually see her. And it was like right in front of her. She was facing me, sitting on this chair. I felt like she was staring right through me. She probably was staring right through me because that's they have to kind of stare and try not to move too much. I remember the guy came around and he was like, "How's the view?" I was like, "Yeah, it's not bad, not bad." But yeah, anyway, the experience for me was really worthwhile. Not just because I got to see a pair of boobs, but because the way they draw there, it's she'll do different poses, and you only get so long for each pose. So she'll do like a 2 minute pose, 10 minute pose, 5 minute pose. One might hold for like 20 minutes. I think there might even be a 30-minute pause. The whole thing lasts, I think, 2 to 3 hours. God, it feels that long ago now since I was able to do something like that. God, if you did it now, she'd probably have a bloody big plastic mask on or something. Oh God. Anyway, yeah, but in the pauses, you are limited, so it's like, right, okay, I need to just, I can't focus too much on these little details that my anxiety makes me do. It's like, oh, that's not quite perfect. You just have to kind of crack it out, and uh, you kind of surprise yourself, to be honest, because you do like 5, 6 different pictures in a session. Whereas normally for me, if I was at home, I'd spend like 3 hours on one picture. It's ridiculous, and it still wouldn't feel perfect to me, you know. Uh, but I just have to move on from things, or I just never get anything done. But yeah, there I did like 6 or so pictures, and I look back at them, and I'm like, wow, like I got proportions pretty good there, or I did a good job there, I did a good job there, and you surprise yourself with what you're capable of in such a short amount of time, and then you realize, oh, actually, yeah, I think I can kind of draw, you know, like better than I thought. I knew I could draw, but I always thought like, oh, I can only draw if I spend an insane amount of time on it. But yeah, you really like surprise yourself, and to be honest, it really built my confidence in my ability to just look at things and draw them. I think before I did that, I always thought I could look at stuff and I could keep trying to draw it, keep trying to draw it, and I'd never just quite get it. But yeah, I always know now if I can see it, I can probably draw something pretty close to it and it'll look decent. Maybe I'll botch it at first, but then I'll realize my proportions are wrong and I'll rejig, and I'll get it eventually. And I never felt like that before, and it kind of just gave me this whole new lease to just have a go at things, you know. Um, I will definitely go back to life drawing if we ever kind of, you know, get back to some resemblance of normal, you know, where we can do it on that level. They still are actually doing the classes, but it's like online. So excuse me, I like hiccup then as I said that. Classes, well. Um, yeah, they're online, so it's like you're just watching a video of somebody sitting perfectly still, and I'm like, well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well just search nude model online and do that, because to me there's no difference. Um, but yeah, it really does teach you to kind of look at things. I mean, really look at them. Um, it sounds it it doesn't sound right when I say it. Like, oh, you learn to look at things. You think I look at things all the time, but no, I mean like you really look at things. Like you look at the length of the shoulder to the elbow in comparison to, and then you might say like, oh well, where's her elbow in relation to her hip? And all these kind of things is how you measure things up. Where's the tip of a nose in relation to the bottom of her ear? You know, um, like where does the inside of her eye start in comparison to her nostrils? You start measuring and comparing things like that because you want to. Because the thing is, there's people, for me anyway, there's a lot of people there, and they all walk around and look at each other's work, and I'm like, I want to do the best I can. You know, I don't want to look rubbish, and that's probably a really shallow thing because I just said don't worry about what people think, and I still stand by that. The fact that I do worry about what people think is not the best for me. You know, I know that, but it's just not that easy to switch it off sometimes. Um, but yeah, um, yeah. So, like I say, the whole try other things. For me, I've kind of settled on the digital medium now because it's so flexible, and you know, I do it because it's fun. It's fun to do it. It's nice to look back and have something that I can kind of keep at the end of it. Like I did that. And then, you know, if somebody asks me to draw a picture for them, I'll do it. And then that's something they can keep. Or if I do a painting and like I did a painting of like the Cookie Monster or something, and I gave it to someone for a present. I think it was like, that was like last year. Might have been the year before actually. But the thought that that is somewhere sitting in someone's room, to me is like a nice feeling. Like if I died tomorrow, at least I've left something behind. And that sounds really morbid. But yeah, I like the idea that I'm just creating things, and then once it's created, it's there. And the great thing about drawing as well, especially for me digital, but even not digitally, it's just so accessible. All you need is a pen and some paper, or a pencil and some paper. You can do it on your desk in work while you're waiting on hold to get through to someone, or you know, you do it on your dinner. You can, yeah, it's just so accessible. And like I said, digital. is even better for me. My phone, it's only an old phone, Galaxy Note 8. But it's got a pen on it, and I've got the Autodesk sketchbook. It's pressure sensitive. Bang. Most of my stuff on my Instagram, in fact, nearly all of it, I'd say about 95% of it, I just did on my phone. On this, like, I mean, it's a big screen for a phone, but it's a small screen, really. I did all that on my phone. Just whenever I had a spare moment, just boom, banged it out. You see so many people absorbed in the phones these days. And I think, well, if I'm going to be absorbed in my phone, I might as well get something out of it. Learn a new language, do some art. Um, that's the way I see it anyway. Kind of turn this thing that everyone sees as a negative into a positive. But yeah, the accessibility of it is just like absolutely amazing. I have the Autodesk app on my computer as well, and that's what's I'm showing on the screen. Really, I'm just kind of drawing random things just to give some people more content than me just rambling on into a blank screen. Um, but yeah, I have like a touchscreen pen. It's only like a budget one, but it does the job. It's pressure sensitive. Um, and me just doing that is good practice. Even if I don't save the pictures, I might draw it and think, oh, it's crap, and I get rid of it. But I still learn from the experience. Um, so yeah, it's just basically I don't do it to make money. If anyone ever said, oh, I'll pay to do this, I might do it, but it has to be something that I want to draw first of all. Uh, because I don't really like feeling under pressure that it has to be of this certain standard, or because I'm charging for it. And also the moment that it becomes work, because I did think about start drawing people's pets and stuff like that for them, and I was never going to charge a lot because there's people out there that are better than me. It's as simple as that for now. But there are people out there that are better than me, and for me to charge anything close to what they do would just, in my opinion, it wouldn't be ethical. And I have drawn people's pets for them, but most of the time I just say, don't give me anything, you know, just don't, because it puts pressure on me to kind of complete within a time frame. When I have pressure on me, I don't do my best job.